All of this is happening to you because you don't love yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. That's all we hear nowadays. What does that even mean? And will just loving myself make all of the shame and the guilt and the blame and all of the bad things that I've done in my life, will all of it just poof, disappear, go away? Is everything going to become better? And how do I love myself if I am carrying all of this stuff? Do I just have self-love days, serenading myself with my favourite music and affirmations in a candle-lit bath with petals and roses and wonderful scents, doing this day in and day out? And one day, if I do it enough, I'm going to love myself and everything is going to be better. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. And there's a lot to unpack here, so let's get comfortable, let's tune in, and let's see where this ride takes us. Self-love. Okay, so where do we even start? There are so many ways of which I can approach this topic of self-love. But what I really want to start with is, how can we really start to love ourselves for those of us who feel entirely unlovable? Some of us may even hate ourselves. And those who really want to get this message today. We come from a society which is so heavily conditioned. Many of us, if not most of us, have never truly experienced unconditional love since the day that we're born. Some of us went into families who never even gave us that unconditional love. And then we went into primary school or high school or whatever, and we're told that we need to achieve certain accolades in order to be good enough. Otherwise, we're failures. Otherwise, we're not cool or accepted in social groups and circles. And then you've got the influence of church and religion on our society, telling us we're not worthy of love or forgiveness unless we are something in particular. So we're always told we need to be something. And then we've got the society and the marketing telling us we need to be this, we need to be that, we need to have this car, that house, this job, this social standing. Otherwise, we're seemingly nothing. We're not worthy of admiration. We're not worthy of praise. We're not worthy of love. We're not worthy of attention. And so we have this unconscious belief and conditioning that unless we're something particular, which in most cases we're not, then we're not lovable. And if we're not feeling like society deems us lovable, can we really find it in ourselves to love ourselves? And for many of us, we can't. For many of us, we have taken on this condition of society and turned it inwards, towards our own selves. Our mind, conditioned by society, looks inwards and judges us with the same judgments that the greater, wider society has. I'll tell you about myself as well. I was born the son of a black man and a white mother. I grew up in an only white town for the most part. And I was always the only brown kid. I had brown skin, curly hair. Everyone else had white skin, straight hair. I was always made to feel like something different, something strange, something to make fun of. So I didn't feel lovable. This affected my confidence throughout my whole life. Even when I received all the praise or the attention from girls, I never actually believed that I was lovable. And I never really seen that I was being appreciated or admired, because my unconscious was so fixed on the belief that I myself was unlovable. It never registered. But whenever I got to my healing journey and I realized that I had to find self-love in order to start healing, because self-love is crucial. It's a crucial element to our healing. And without self-love, It's not impossible to heal, but you will find it one of the hugest uphill battles. And once you attain self-love, everything goes so much easier. It's a resource that you have, an unlimited resource which can melt away the majority of your traumas once you learn how to truly sit with it. So again, where do we start? First of all, you need to realize that these conditions that you have in your mind about what you need to be and who you need to be are bullshit. You can continue to go on with society's beliefs and values. You can continue to believe that what other people have told you you need to be, that's what you must achieve. But for most of us know that that's not going to lead to happiness, and it's not going to lead to self-love. Because let's remember, it is about self-love. And the self-love must come from the self. So your beliefs and ideas about yourself must come from within. You might say, Alex, look, that's all good and well, but I'm not struggling with what I haven't achieved in life. I'm struggling with who I am. I've been a liar, a cheat. I steal things. I cheated on my wife. I cheated throughout school. I've been lazy. I've been a bum. I'm ashamed of my behaviour. I feel guilty about what I done here and what I done there. It's not that I haven't achieved anything. It's that I actually despise who I am. I hate the fact that I have been this person. So how can I even begin to love myself when this is how I really feel about myself? And so my question is that who you have always been since day one? Since you was a little toddler? I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming that's not who you've always been. Well, I know it's not who you've always been. Because I know the you which is behind all of that. That is a story of your pain and suffering which has took you on the path to becoming what you have became. And you see, one of the ways that you can help yourself is to start to understand yourself. And understanding yourself doesn't excuse everything that you have done. But what it can do is give you understanding of why you became what you became. And it's not even what you became, because that's what you did in your story doesn't actually define who you are. It may define your life story up until now, but who you are is something different. And once you understand your story and what has led you to becoming who you are today, which might be a story of trauma, a story of pain, ancestral trauma, your upbringing, your conditioning, ways in which you have been influenced by others' behaviors. Once you see and understand your story, and you'll see that that was the product of certain influence, but is not actually who you are. And then so you ask me, then who am I? Well, this is what you must ask yourself. And see, when it comes to who you really are, the true self, then this is a question where we start getting into more of the spiritual aspects of this work. And you see, this is actually what helps me or enables me to genuinely love and accept whoever it is that I work with. And it doesn't matter if this person kills someone. It doesn't matter if this person has been involved in some of the darkest darkness. I can genuinely sit in front of them and find love and acceptance. But why? How? Is this just some kind of lovey-dovey spiritual hippie thing that I have achieved? No, it's actually because I respect the soul. And the soul has a story arc. When it comes to life, there is a game and emotion and a dance to life that we can eventually start to understand when we understand ourselves and consciousness as a whole. What I've come to see and understand is that every soul has its story arc that it wants to experience and experience itself and learn about itself through it. So people may choose to go into some of the darkest things in the world and lose themselves completely. Even in my own life, I lost myself and the connection to my soul through going into some of the darkest areas of the mind, you could say. But I have seen some dark things. I rejected my own heart and feelings for a long time and been lost in the world of belief systems and structures. However, the story arc is always prevalent and is so often a matter of losing oneself and then finding oneself. And sometimes we up it with different challenges, making it harder and harder, but we always eventually come back to self. And so when I see a soul and meet a soul who's in the darkness, they call out to me in order to help them on their journey back home. And it's not me to then look at their journey or look at that phase, that leg of the journey and say, wow, this is you in this darkness. You must be some really shitty soul or person. No, because I know what the journey is. We journey into the darkness and lose ourselves in order to find the self again. And so there's no judgment, because I know that there's so many souls, unlimited amount of souls, go through these story arcs. And so it's not about the story arc. You are not the story arc. You are the soul who has chosen that story arc. You are the soul who went through that darkness and that pain and that suffering and lost yourself and compensated for that in different ways. But it's not who you are. You are that twinkling light behind all of it. And so I'm just going to challenge you to try and feel what that light is, what that true you is. You know, it's the light. That twinkling light is why you're still here. It's where you feel that sense of there's a reason why you're here, but you don't quite know it yet. It's that force which is propelling you in order to making these changes. It's the thing which is propelling you to watch this video today. That is who you really are. And it's behind all of these different layers, these stories of what you think you are. And once you tap into that, you will eventually laugh at the fact you ever belittled yourself. That you ever seen yourself as unworthy. That you thought you wasn't worthy of love. Because once you tap in to what you truly are, now it seems a bit cliche to say, but you'll realize that you actually are love itself. And it sounds so simple, but that is the journey itself, returning home. So how do we even begin to start accessing that, or to start realizing that about ourselves? Let's start throwing away the conditioning and the beliefs of what we should and shouldn't be. And then let's start to look at our story arc. How and why we became the people that we became. What was we compensating for? What was it that we was needing? What did we really need which could have prevented all of that happening in the first place? Let's ask ourselves, why did our soul choose to go down that road? And what did it teach us? What did it teach us about ourselves? What did it teach us about the journey of the soul? And you might realize along the way that it was quite simple. You only really needed X, Y, Z. You only needed the simple thing. So much of the pain that occurred in our journeys wouldn't have even occurred. But with that knowledge itself, what you can do is to start to lessen the burden and the blame that you put upon yourself. Let's start to acknowledge the light which is behind all of it. It's not that easy, and that's why there are people like me who do the work that we do to help, coach, and guide you on your journey back home. And if you need help with this journey, then you know where to find me.